Indian indentured immigrants first arrived in Jamaica in 1845. 2021 marks 175 years since they first arrived. In that time, there has been an intermingling of cultures. Recently, India's High Commissioner to Jamaica, His Excellency Runsung Makasui, took time out to pay tribute to some of the oldest members of Jamaica's Indian population and reminisced on some of the contributions Indians have made to Jamaica's culture. We get more from Marlon Samuels.
It is my honor to come and pay tribute and honor to you. You are one of the elders of the community, which have preserved the long tradition of Indian culture and have passed on from one generation to another. And I guess you are 86 years old now, and that means you have seen a lot of things of Indian life in Jamaica, including the ups and downs, the happiness, the sorrows, and the struggles that our people went through in Jamaica, and how, of course, our people have been accepted and assimilated in the larger Jamaican society. So I'm so honored to come and pay tribute to you on this special occasion of 175 years of Indians' arrival celebration.
The Indian High Commissioner to Jamaica recently took the time out to honor Mrs. Laxmi Mansingh. She and her husband have done extensive research on Indian culture in Jamaica. Mrs. Mansingh is the author of the book Home and Away from Home, which chronicles the arrival of Indians in Jamaica and their contribution to their adopted homeland.
When we first came, we started going and visiting people, and we were lucky that those original immigrants were then alive. We got a lot of information through them, and that motivated us to do the further research, and mainly going to archives and National Library. We collected a lot of information and have been visiting Jamaican people at their homes, seeing how they live and how they talk. And we had a very good contact. By 1974, other Indians from India came, and some were very much interested, like Dr. Garg. And we formed an Indo-Jamaican Cultural Society, which has been very instrumental to project Indians' contribution to Jamaica.
Since Indians began arriving in Jamaica in 1845, Jamaicans have embraced Indian customs. The use of curry, turmeric, and other spices in Jamaica is a direct result of Indian culture. Indians who came to Jamaica in 1845 also brought with them a number of Hindu practices and language.
There were very few who knew Urdu. This is Ramayana written in Urdu, and they brought with them a Ramayana in Urdu. This is Bhagavad Gita, another epic book, and this has been brought in around late 19th century. Then there is this book, which is Sur Sagar, again written in Hindi. Hindi was the language which most of them were speaking.
This is a Jamaican village scene, sometimes in 1890s, turn of the century. Picture obviously from the Institute of Jamaica. This is a reprint. But the important thing here is a typical sort of set of indentured laborers. But if you look at the person in the backdrop there, what you'll see is somebody who has locks. And this would be a holy man in the plantation who is sporting his locks. And the story about this is that these used to be called jatabis, or jata. Jata means locks. And the early Rastas used to call their locks as zatabi. And it was one of the direct links that of the Indian influence on Rastafari. But the wearing of locks by holy men is common even now in India, and was very much part of the indentured labor village culture at that time.
The Hindus used ganja for both religious and medicinal purposes. Leonard P. Howell, one of the founding fathers of Rastafarianism, was reportedly influenced by the religious practices of the Hindus.
From 1845 going on, the plantations, in fact, we still have it in Golden Grove, St. Thomas, where on one side of the road you had the Indian barracks, and on the other side of the road you had the Afro-Jamaican barracks. And that was the setup in the plantation. And what the Indians used to do is at night they would congregate in circles, where the elders would be in the center and they would be espousing Indian scriptures, they'd be singing, they'd be chanting, there'd be a lot of cultural activities, dancing, etc. The other Indian indentured laborers would be around them, and the youngsters likewise in that mix. And what people from that era describe is that outside of that ring, where a lot of Afro-Jamaicans would be looking in, hearing as to what was happening. Now, when it came the advent of Rastafari, there are two main people linked to the sort of formation of this religion. One was Lenny Howell, and the other was Hibbert. As you're aware, when Howell proclaimed Rastafari, he changed his name to Gyan Guru Maharaj. And a lot of what he spoke of was out of the scriptural interaction that he had from the Indians. And as you've seen before, that the Indians had brought their books of scripture, they were very well versed in their own culture, and they were happily, practicing it within their village scenario. So Howell had gone down the line of changing his name to Gyan Guru Maharaj, and a lot of his teachings and so on were intertwined with what the Indians used to speak of their own culture.
The Indian High Commission also paid tribute to others who have helped to maintain the culture of India while contributing in a significant way to Jamaica's development. For the news on PBCJ, I am Marlon Samuels.